morning and welcome to Health Quest. I'm Deborah Arneson, your host for tonight. We have a great show for you. We have tonight one of my very all-time favorite guests, Christina Pfeiffer, who is a local celebrity in Chicago, who knows colon health and intestinal integrity issues like the back of my hand. And she's talking to us tonight about where health originates, which is in the colon. So we're going to share some information with you tonight that's excellent. Christina also lectures around the Chicagoland area, so if you'd like more information on where she's going to be lecturing, especially doing certain lectures for women's groups, give me a call and we'll talk about it. So Christina, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you. We can never talk enough about the colon because people are always like, shh, don't talk about the colon.
It's a taboo subject.
It's a taboo subject, but we know it's an important one, and it has to be discussed. So let's start with some real generic questions, like how long is the small intestine?
On average, about 22 feet.
Okay, what about the 22 feet?
Right.
Packed into this little area here.
All around your umbilicus area.
Wow, and how long is the colon?
Can be anywhere from 5 to 6 feet long.
Okay, and what is the purpose of our colon and small intestine? Most people think of the colon as a refuse tank, kind of like a disposal.
It is, but majority of our absorption takes place there as well.
Absorption of what?
Nutrients, and a lot of osmosis takes place there between our toxins and our available nutrients that our body needs to absorb before the last stage of digestion.
Okay, so it's not just that. So basically what we eat affects our intestines, right?
Definitely.
So people don't think about that. They think it just affects our stomach.
Right.
It
a lot of
stops
people
there.
think that, oh, I got a tummy ache, they're always down here. That's actually their small intestine. Stomach's up here.
Wow.
So.
And the small intestine absorbs primarily our oils and our proteins, right?
Yes,
for the most part.
For the most part.
Okay. What happens to one's colon when the water and fiber that we should be getting in our diet every day is missing in adequate quantities?
Oh, so many horrible things happen. Mostly dehydration. Things get stuck and lodged there. I mean,
do people really get dehydrated, like in their skin then? Is that one of the signs and symptoms of dehydration?
Their hair and their skin and their nails. But most people are not as in tune with their bodies as they should be. Some people attribute it to it being too dry and cold outside, or their house, the heater's on, and they don't take into account that, or maybe it was the flight that they took a couple days ago.
Hey, because your hair is beautiful. It's really shiny.
Well, thank you.
It shows your skin.
I do lots of oils, essential oils, edible oils.
Okay.
And lots of fiber and lots of water.
Can we expound and kind of tear apart the whole ideology of enough water and how much is enough, and fiber, how much is enough, and where it comes from, and oils and where they should come from?
Sure.
So how much water is enough?
The 8-ounce glasses is a complete fallacy. If you think about it logically, a 100-pound woman and a 200-pound man aren't going to need the same amount of water. So you basically take your weight times 0.075. And we usually use that formula because there have been people describe us being anywhere from 72% water to 90% water, so it's a good ratio to go by, and that gives you how many 8-ounce glasses you need.
Now,
so if you're 160 pounds, then you're going to need 12 8-ounce glasses.
Got it. So it's different depending on your weight and your body mass.
And as your weight fluctuates, so will your needs. So when you gain weight and you lose weight, you have to take into account your water intake.
Can you also tell us acceptable water sources things like coffee and soda pops and juices?
They're not the same. Just because coffee is made with water does not mean it is water.
Okay.
Those are all diuretics. Those take water out of your body. I mean, even juice, because your body needs water to process that
product.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
juice is primarily sugar, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So for every glass of coffee or soda or tea or alcohol, you need to add an additional 8-ounce glasses to that amount that you're originally supposed to have in the first place.
So all you Starbucks lovers, you have to and Starbucks isn't a normal 8-ounce cup. It's usually 12, I think, 12 or 24.
Yeah, the big venti one.
So you're really going to need to at least match that amount of water to rehydrate. And
I know it, and I use the analogy that you give. I've heard you give as the basin of dishwater that people use. And when you give someone that image, they're just completely disgusted. Do you want to tell it?
Yeah, I always say to people, it's like having a sink full of dishwater, and you take your dishes and you wash them in there every night, but every night you only add a little bit of new clean water to it. You never actually empty the water out and put new water in. So you're always constantly kind of re-washing your body in all your toxins for the most part.
Yeah,
It is
so
a
your
really good
body will
visual.
recycle that dirty water because it's not being replenished with new water. And
Yeah,
it's
it's really
disgusting.
gross.
So everything starts to get gummy and starts to just,
Coagulate and muck up.
yeah.
Too much almond. And then people come along and try and eat fiber a lot of times, right? Like they don't drink water, but they think, oh, I'm constipated, or I'm, you know, my skin keeps breaking out, so maybe I'll do more fiber. And they start pounding down the fiber, and they end up with what we
And
call
that makes it worse.
fur balls. Yeah, big fur balls in your intestines.
Because the fiber expands, so it's like taking a sponge. You know, the sponge will expand when it has water in it, but if you don't have enough water to push it through, it's just going to get stuck.
That's gross.
It's disgusting.
So how does one avoid a fur ball? Drink enough water.
Right.
So remember Christina's formula. It's your weight times what?
0.075.
And that gives you the number of cups?
8-ounce glasses.
8-ounce cups, okay.
Yeah, so then what you do is to find the total ounces, you know, multiply that number by 8, and
That'll
voila.
give you the ounces.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can convert to liters and have fun. What about fiber? Now, I know people don't get enough fiber in America. I rarely see people with enough fiber. So what do you do as far as encouraging people to consume fiber, and why? Why do we need fiber?
Well, fiber, I mean, our colons can't work without fiber. They don't work very well without fiber, I should say. And there are different types of fiber, and most people, you know, are afraid of carbohydrates nowadays, so they're just doing fruits and vegetables, which, you know, your body needs as much difference of fiber as possible. You need insoluble and soluble. So,
So you need the whole grains too, or like legumes and...
right, anything that's soluble swells with water.
Okay.
So your fruits and vegetables are mostly like insoluble.
Okay, now we have to talk about wheat because people think that wheat is like one of the best sources of fiber, like our wheat bread or brown berries or something.
Oh gosh, no.
Uh-uh.
No, and actually brown berry bread is supposed to be very healthy, but they have hydrogenated oil in that now.
Right.
And hydrogenated oil is just a whole other can of worms, but you don't want it. You don't want it
Okay.
in your body.
And most of our wheat products are bleached, right?
Yes, adulterated. They're not as close to the true form. But even if it is pure whole wheat, most people have sensitivities to wheat. A lot of people think, oh, whole wheat, it's healthy for me. This is what you're pretty much brainwashed to think. But it has gluten in it, and gluten is like taking sandpaper to the inside of your colon. It causes lots of inflammation. So even people with joint problems, you know, lots of bloating and gas, I mean, a lot of that is wheat. And I'd have to say 50% of my clients, if not more, who have joint problems, if they stop doing wheat, their problems go away. And they don't even have to worry about...
Well, Christina, then you're going to have to explain for our viewing audience the relationship between knuckles hurting and their colon being irritated. How does that work?
Well, what you have to kind of think of your colon as is your body's wastebasket.
Okay.
And if you don't empty your wastebasket, you know, things are going to start to back up. And every system, every organ, you cannot expect your body not to be affected one way or the other. Your system will start breaking down. And there's kind of like a cascading effect. I mean, if there's backup into your joints, you're going to get achy and...
So it gets out of it, your wastebasket kind of overflows into like the bloodstream or the room, and then it backs up and it affects different organs and systems.
Right.
Wow. So most people wouldn't think about that who have arthritis.
No, they
So
don't.
take out wheat, see if it works, and people are going to be like, what's left in life to eat?
Well, there's
you know?
so many alternatives nowadays. There's a great magazine called Living Without, which gives you so many different ideas and choices and options of non-wheat grains or non-gluten grains, because there are other grains that have some gluten in them.
Where do you find a magazine like that?
Living Without, I'm not quite sure who publishes that, but
you have it at the clinic.
I do have it in the clinic, and I'm sure you could go to Whole Foods or GNC or any of those places that promotes
health.
that.
Okay.
In Whole Foods, and grocery stores and the like do carry non-wheat products. You can find pastas and breads made with, other sources. And then there's Ezekiel bread, which is great, and it's made with sprouted wheat, which is okay. It doesn't affect your body the same way as whole wheat does.
Right, because it's not processed.
Right.
So people could literally make their own sprouted wheat at home too, right?
Yeah, if they have time.
If you don't have a life outside of the kitchen.
Right.
Okay, so people need fiber and people need water. Now, how much fiber? How many grams a day?
Minimally 30. You
Okay.
know, that's the bare minimum. And most people don't even know how to break down
30 grams.
30 grams. They don't know where those grams are coming from. You want to do at least half of that insoluble and half of that soluble. And what it basically comes down to is just like 3 large pieces of fruit is 9 grams.
Okay.
2 cups of cooked or 4 cups of raw is about 4 to 5 grams.
Okay.
So if you do, you know, you can kind of play with your numbers, see what works best for you and your lifestyle. And then for the soluble, about 7 to 8 grams for a cup of legumes, no, half a cup of legumes.
Okay.
And legumes, beans, depending on if it's a lentil or garbanzo, it's gonna differ a little
Swell
bit.
more or less, right.
So you want to look at the packaging and see what the breakdown is.
Beans are probably the highest, though, I think. They're like, for half a cup of beans, you get 4 to 6 grams of fiber. It's
Probably
a lot.
sometimes more.
But, you know, a lot of people are going to be like, I don't think so. You know, I get gas from beans.
Well,
So,
you're missing enzymes then. Most people are.
so let's talk about enzymes.
Okay.
Okay, what's an enzyme? What does it do?
It helps you break down your food, assimilate it so that you're absorbing your nutrients better. I mean, there's a bunch of precursors to that too. You know, you need hydrochloric acid, you need probiotics, which is
Okay.
good bacteria.
Okay.
But enzymes, most people are enzyme deficient. You know, we kill our enzymes off on a daily basis, just like, you know, we do our brain cells. We kill them off by doing too hot or too cold, too much coffee, too many prescription drugs. I mean, you name it, they're
Dead
destroyed.
foods.
Dead food diet, you know,
Yeah.
not eating enough of the live, you know, fruits and vegetables and whole grains.
Well, didn't the American Cancer Society do a really great study about 4 years ago that showed if Americans would consume simply 9 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, they would offset the onset of the 4 most popular cancers in
yeah.
70-some% of the time or cases, and
Yeah.
they could like cut the death rate by 50%.
If not more. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's just a lifestyle choice.
So it's
We're such a
simple.
fast food diet, you know.
Give
we
it to me
just-
now, gotta
right,
go.
in a hurry. And the other thing is that, you know, not to get on the breakdown of the family values, and no one really sits home and cooks anymore.
Right.
And, you know, just being in the house and smelling that food being prepared, that's the first step of digestion, you know, your olfactory senses. You know, now the food's just plopped right in front of us. We don't even get to smell it being prepared, so
Yeah.
our body's missing that link or that step for
Which helps
digestion.
with processing the foods.
Right, because that gets our juices going,
Wow.
smelling it.
So if somebody's going to eat on the run, maybe a good idea for them would be to like have a couple seeds or nuts or a couple raisins and just eat those 10, 12, 15 minutes before they have a meal.
Or just do enzymes. But yeah,
Or take enzymes.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
great idea.
What kind of enzymes?
You want to make sure that you're taking like proteases to break down your proteins, amylases, your fats. You know, you want to make sure it's a whole, you know, you don't want to do just one or the other. It's like doing a B1 without the rest of your Bs. You want to do a B complex.
So a complex of different enzymes.
Different enzymes to break
All
down
mixed
all
in
your
one.
foods. Yeah,
Okay.
that's ideal.
And do people have to take these forever?
No, the idea is that it helps kickstart your body so you start creating on your own. So no,
Okay.
you're not going to be on them for the rest of your life.
Well, the interesting thing too is, and this is very good for people to know after the age of about 40 to 45, depending on how much abuse you've done, truly you stop making enzymes in adequate quantities, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, if you're like eating and you're full easily, if you get really full and you're like, oh, I just can't eat what I should eat, usually it's an indicator you need enzymes. And you mentioned earlier gas and bloating
Right.
and constipation/diarrhea.
And actually, in my business, I see a lot of people who are taking, you know, the Pepsid AC because they think they have too much acid, when in fact they don't have enough of the enzymes and the hydrochloric acid to break down their food. So they're taking these products that are further inhibiting the enzymes that they do have, as pitiful as it may be, and it's just worsening the problem. Even though they may feel some relief because there's, you know, the anti-inflammatory or the
Right.
anti-gas proponents in them, but they're just, and it's over the counter. I mean, it's so easy to get, and so many people are doing it.
And they're self-prescribing,
Yes.
which is not good.
Right.
Ooh, not good, not good.
Right.
Okay, tell me this. Since most Americans eat way too much of the highly saturated fatty acid products like fries and burgers and, you know, lots of chicken, even though it's
Highly
leaner,
saturated.
it's still saturated. What does this do to the colon, a diet like that?
Wow. I mean, it can very well constipate you. It causes lots of plaque on the wall of the colon, so that will further inhibit the absorption of good nutrients because you have to have that wall clear. Otherwise, it's like you know, build up on a pipe. You know, it slowly starts to constrict and.
So the muscle can't flex and move.
Right, and you're not creating your good bacteria, and so you just need to get that. The colonic is really going to help.
So it kills off the villi?
Right,
What are
right. The
the villi?
absorption, that's your, it creates more of a surface area for your absorption. And when that gets coated with, you know, saturated fat and plaque and you know, other horrible toxins and such, it's like stepping on a shag carpet. It's decreasing that surface area. So you're not, you know, basically not living to your fullest or getting the optimal, you know, absorption rate.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if people don't even realize that, you know, what, 70% of our digestion occurs in the colon and the small intestine. You know, most people are thinking that it all happens in the stomach wall.
Right.
And that's just a highly refined carbohydrates, actually.
Right. That's it.
The sugars. That give you that zip. So if people are consuming a highly saturated fatty acid diet, then they really would be well off to just start consuming what, like a piece of fruit a day and a cup of vegetables, or start with one piece of fruit and work your way up to 2 pieces of fruit and then work your way into...
And if you don't have the enzymes to break down, you know, vegetables and such, you know, start steaming them. You know, don't eat anything raw if you're not used to them.
Because you can't handle it.
Because you won't be able to break it down. It's going to cause even more gas. You know, especially if you're a very thin person. You know, hardier people can handle breaking down. For the most part, I mean, this is much of a generalization, but yeah, start out steaming them.
Okay. For everybody
lightly.
who's concerned. Yeah.
Right.
And if you don't digest at all, make them kind of limpish, huh?
Yeah.
I hate to do that and lose nutrients,
kind
but
of,
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, kills the joy in a nice cruciferous vegetable.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to start somewhere.
So tell me this, what health problems do you see in your practice most of the time that are really directly associated with a toxic or a sluggish colon?
I would have to say at least half of my practice, if people just drank enough water, they would not have the problems they have. Water, I mean, everyone's drinking soda, or diet soda, and coffee, and juice, and no one's drinking water. And people don't even like the taste of water. It's just really, really sad. And then I've got these, you know, special mysterious clients that drink a gallon of water a day and still have the problems. And then we're getting into more, you know, mineral imbalances. You know, if they're still having, you know, hard little stools, basically, then they may be missing a lot of magnesium or, you know, some sulfur in their diet. They need some MSM to start, you know, loosening.
What does MSM do?
As we age, we start to get hard. You know, basically, we start to dry out and become brittle. And MSM makes us a little softer.
Well, that's cool.
So it's good for arthritis. It's great for constipation, headaches, inflammatory issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And also oil. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that there are more than one kind of dehydration. You know, if you wash your hands too much, your hands are going to get dry.
Right.
So you need, not only do you need lots of water, but you need some essential
oils.
edible oils.
So what do people do with these oils? Do they eat them? Do they put them on their body? Or
Oh, they could do that too.
Yeah.
Why not? It's great.
Put it everywhere.
Put it everywhere. Use oil instead of lotion. Lotion has chemicals in it and alcohol. You know, use the sesame oil, organic, unrefined sesame. But as far as the essential oils, you want to get a blend of omega-3, 6, and 9 essential fatty acids, and you know.
Okay, we have to presume people have no idea what you're talking
Essential fatty acids.
Yeah.
Omega-3, 6, and 9. There's you know, like flaxseed oil and borage and primrose and
sesame,
sunflower, safflower, and these are oils that you do not cook with because heating them destroys their integrity.
Okay.
And you supplement them. You put them on your food. You can put them in a protein drink in the morning. You put on your meat if it's too dry. You can put in baked potato instead of butter. I mean, they're great supplements. You only do, you know, maybe anywhere from a teaspoon to a tablespoon 3 times a day.
Really?
Depending on your size.
Because we're so oil deficient.
Yes, we are. And everyone's so fat phobic that if they do get fat, it's by accident and it's the bad stuff. Doing the good stuff will really help lower your bad cholesterol, help lubricate your colon so that things slide out much easier. Sorry if that's
Right.
too descriptive, but it's true.
Right, it gives the muscle flex, right?
Yes, it does. And it's
Okay.
great for our skin and our hair. So for those who are worried about aging, you know, you can use it for that reason.
Anti-aging.
Right.
So the health problems that you see are skin problems a lot when people have a toxic colon?
Very much. Because if your skin is having eruption, it means that something's been going on inside you for a long time. You know, your skin shows what's going on in your body, your
Wow.
organs, yeah.
So if you get a zit, we've got toxins that can't get out the other way.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You need to empty your wastebasket, so to
got it.
speak.
Okay, what else? Do you see a lot of arthritis with toxic colons? Or?
You can. I mean, I can't say that there's a direct correlation, but I have had clients tell me that their aches and pains have gone away after cleaning out their colon. It's pretty amazing. Some people's skin have cleared up afterwards, too. Body odor.
Excessive sweating?
Yes, yeah, things like that.
How about sinus issues or chest congestion?
Yeah, now I'm very fortunate. I don't have many sinus problems, but I've had people tell me that they can feel their sinuses drain.
As they clean their colon out.
Yes, and
That's
I mean, we
wonderful.
can have mucus systemically. You know, it's not just in your sinuses. So when you clean out your colon, we clean out a lot of mucus that can be stuck in there.
What causes mucus?
Your body creates mucus when there's irritant in the body, entered or introduced into the system. So what it tries to do is encapsulate and get rid of it. We can blow our noses, but we can't blow our colons, so it gets stuck in there.
Colon blow.
Right. So, you know, usually that's what the colonic helps facilitate getting rid of that on your own, because many times it's too sticky. It won't come out. I mean, even if your muscle is really strong and it's trying to, you know, that peristalsis and trying to move things through, it can't.
So the mucus in the body actually becomes more like a glue. It holds the feces to the wall of the colon.
And if it stays there long enough, it can actually turn rubber-like. I mean, I've heard, you know, in autopsies.
They're just like boinky.
And it's years and years of buildup. It's like a racquetball.
Really?
That thick rubber.
Ew.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think about all these people that have never, you know, done this, never cleaned out their system in, you know, years and years and years.
Well, now, you do colonics, which we're going to expound on in just a moment here, but you also offer infusions.
Right.
Right? And infusions are in conjunction with colonics or alone without colonics?
Either
and what
or.
do they do?
Either or. I mean, I've given oil infusions to people who were, you know, very trepidatious, didn't want to do a colonic because the colonic is a little more involved. People are a little frightened of it. It's mostly up here. You know, there are some contraindications with colonics, so if that's the case and someone's in a lot of discomfort, I'll give them an oil infusion in lieu of a colonic. You know, like someone's never had a colonic before, haven't come to see me regularly and are newly pregnant, you know, I'll give them oil infusion. I actually had a conversation just last week with someone, well, you know, maybe only like an ounce of oil or something, because, you know, that 2 ounces may be too much, but yet they're more concerned about the oil than the fact that they've got this feces that's been stuck in them for 2 weeks. They think that the oil is going to bother the baby more than the feces. And that's the mentality of many people.
Yeah, it's a toxic environment. You got to get that out.
A little bit of organic, unrefined sesame oil will go a long way.
Okay. So could people do this at home as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can administer it yourself. It's not an involved process.
Now, you also use probiotics as an infusion.
Yes.
So what's a probiotic?
Probiotic, good bacteria. Our body has good bacteria, bad bacteria, and the idea is when you get a colonic, well, aside from many other things, you clear out both the good and the bad, and you want to re-inoculate with the good stuff. So we give that to you orally. But people who have a lot of yeast issues, you know, who are really concerned about the absence of probiotics in their system,
Right.
you can infuse them after the colonic is administered as well.
To help it stick better and re-inoculate.
Right,
well.
because
Okay.
there's high absorption that goes on in the colon. So, I mean, the absorption rate is
Quick, very
almost
fast.
immediate.
So how often should someone have a colonic?
It really depends. It depends on the individual. I mean, if you're coming in just for a detoxification, then you can be anywhere from once a week to twice a week. And then
Okay.
depending on your progress, it can be for a couple weeks, it could be for a month.
That's
and then
great.
maintenance can be anywhere from once a month to once every 3 months.
And then you can tell simply by observing the stool, which sounds really gross, but there's like a little YouTube for the therapist.
Everything's contained.
What's going on?
We're looking for your muscle function, whether or not it's really strong. How well you're moving on your own in between your sessions also determines on your progress.
Okay.
So,
well, we only have a few more minutes, so
right.
I'd really love you to cover the detox programs that you offer, because I know that you have put together over the course of your curriculum, being a therapist, with your knowledge base and watching hundreds and thousands of people come through your door, 2 wonderful detox programs, and I know that they're pretty involved.
They are.
So there's a phase 1 and a phase 2.
Right. The phase 1 is a gentle liver detox.
Okay.
And it's recommended that you use them in conjunction with colonics.
Okay. And why would we detox our liver?
Gosh, because that is your
Powerhouse.
Yeah, it is. It's your fire, and your liver controls so many things that are going on in your system. You want to clean out your liver before we start with the phase 2, which is a colon cleanse.
Okay.
Now, I also urge many of my clients before they start the detox programs that they go through withdrawal, because while you're on the first phase, you cannot do any wheat, dairy, citrus, caffeine, alcohol, and sugar.
Okay.
So if someone's trying to detox and go through withdrawal, they're miserable. They hate me.
Everyone hates
And,
you.
you know, you'll get the headaches. And so the idea is I try and get them to get off these things first. And then it's a protein powder that you do in the morning, but it's chock full of
nutrients.
I mean, it's amazing. And you mix it with oils, the essential oils we were talking about, fiber, a little bit of juice and water, and you do that first thing in the morning. And it's a 3-week supply, and depending on how well you do, you may have to do it one more time before you move to phase 2.
Okay, and what does phase 2 involve?
Phase 2 is pretty intense. It takes a lot of effort, but it's great. It's a colon
cleanse. Is that
cleanse.
where you use the clay, the liquid clay?
We use bentonite clay.
Okay.
And psyllium.
And inositol, is that in the first phase?
Inositol and choline, that's in the second phase.
And ginger and
cayenne.
And cayenne,
yeah,
which
and
is
also,
purifier.
Right, and they're all digestive aids, and they also help you break down and
fats, right?
Right, and get rid of your
inositol.
fats in your liver as well. And I also provide green magma, which is green barley green. It has a lot of active enzymes and phytonutrients. So
how's it taste?
It tastes really green. It tastes the way that
it tastes like trees
grass,
and grass
shavings smell, but it doesn't. It's not as strong or as potent as wheatgrass, which can make a lot of people sick.
So that rejuvenates the liver.
Yes.
It has to really be great for the liver, right?
Right.
And the colon must appreciate it as well.
It does, and I mean, you feel so amazing afterwards.
Because you're giving your body life.
Yeah, you are. It's like a new lease on life, exactly.
Well, if people need more information, they can give me a jingle and I'll refer them to you. How does that sound?
That's great.
Okay. Listen, Christina, we've got to go.
Thank you so much.
It's been great having you, and thank you for sharing this information.
Sure.
If you'd like more information about your colon, well, we encourage you to take good care of it. Give me a call and we'll help you out. Until next week, take very good care of you and your family's health. I'm Deborah Arneson bringing you Health Quest. Good night.